Hi again. Most of you will know Jim already. He's the guy that sends out my videos and keeps us all so well informed about car events. He's also the owner of a 1928 Velie. Every car has a story. This is Jim's.
We just happened to walk into a gas station on Tecumseh Road in Windsor one evening and looked at an old Model A that was haphazardly done, and this guy said, well, I got some pictures inside. So we went in, and he had 3 pictures of a Velie that was in Alberta at the Reynolds Museum in Wetaskiwin, in Alberta. So the next morning I got on the phone, and by 4 o'clock that day I bought it over the phone.
Many people have never heard of Velie, even though they were in business for many years.
It was in business for 20 years, from 1908 to 1928. Willard Velie married John Deere's granddaughter. So he worked in the Deere factories for a long time before he decided to go out on his own and make his own cars. So he started building them in 1908 when he made his first one. And it was like all the others, basic standard 4-cylinder touring car, open. Completely open, no windows. So it took him a little while, but the first few were even sold in the John Deere tractor catalogs.
There are still a few Velies remaining, but not many.
There's 214 of them that are registered. About 100 are restored, and there's about 10 or 20 running in original condition. The first one made is still being driven today in Iowa.
As you can imagine, this classic was in pretty rough shape when Jim bought it, but at least all the parts were there. And over several years, Jim and wife Mary worked steadily to rebuild this rare automobile.
Yes. The day it arrived in Windsor, we arranged transportation from Alberta. It arrived in Windsor and it rolled out of the back of the truck and into the driveway, and I looked at it and I said, well, I think I bit off more than I can chew. And Mary said to me, don't worry, you'll get it done. We took it apart right down to a bare frame. First, before I took it apart, I had to do one thing. I had to make the body stable because the roof was all rotten. The wood structure in the pillars and the roof was totally wiped out. So I had to replace all the wood first and reset all the doors into their proper positions. I made pillars, I made flooring, all new flooring for it. I picked up a lot of oak that I got for nothing. Part of it I had to buy. So it was a lot of woodwork that I'd never done before, but I learned very quickly. Before I even finished the outside, the interior is lagging around, and because this stuff is so dirty and rotten and everything, you want to get rid of it. So I got busy and I took all the seats completely apart, and then I measured, and then I drew plans, and then I copied every panel and sewed the seats back together myself on my home Singer sewing machine.
Let's talk about the engine.
Velie made their own engines. It's a 6-cylinder overhead valve, pressure-fed oil system, and 4-wheel hydraulic brakes.
This is a rare 1928 car. Engine parts are scarce, and that means sometimes having them custom made.
Yes, I had to have new valves made. I had to have valve guides made. I had complete settings all done. The only thing I haven't been able to get my hands on is a new timing gear, which is a little noisy, but however, I don't drive it that often, so it runs good, so I just leave it alone. Now, I had to find somebody to do the original Babbitt bearings for it, and I found a gentleman by the name of Richard Petty, would you believe, up in Burford, Ontario. Little old man, and he had all his tooling out back of his son's house. And I took everything and went up there to see him and dropped it off, and he made all new Babbitt bearings for it, put it back together, and then sent it to me. And from there, the crank was all in and honed and everything. The rods were done. So then my buddy and I put it all back together again.
And how does it run?
Well, it runs even better now because the oil pressure pump that they had made was not working very well. It did not give off enough oil pressure that it ruined the first engine. So I took the pump to a guy and I said, machinist, and I said, you make me one of these? And he said, yeah. Does it have to look like that? I said, no. He said, okay, I'll make you a new oil pump. I said, here's gears that are 1/4 of an inch longer than what's in it. You got to use these gears. So he did the drawings and then he machined it for me. Made a big difference in the oil pressure.
As mentioned, wife Mary had a part in restoring this Velie. She spent hours, if not days, using a sharp piece of broken glass, scraping the old finish off the wheels, and they look great. That's the story of Jim and Mary's 1928 Velie. Thanks, Jim, for all you do. And thank you for viewing. I'll see you next time with more local car stories.